Hello guys, welcome to Daily Current Affairs and Recent program from Team Enlight. Today we'll be looking at three important news. The first one is positive indigenization list. So we'll also be looking into its parallel topics like why indigenization is relevant, what are the government initiatives towards defense indigenization, and successes. Then we'll be looking into sedition, IPC 124A, regarding which Supreme Court had made a ruling, and it was in news. We'll be looking at it both from prelims and mains perspective, looking at the salient points. Then we'll be looking into fiscal deficit, again both from prelims and mains perspective, mainly looking at FRBM Act, Encasing Committee, and CGA, Controller General of Accounts, who publishes data regarding uh, fiscal deficit. Okay, so let's move on. The first topic that we are looking at is positive indigenization list because it was in news recently because Defense Ministry added further 108 list 108 items into the negative imports list as it was called, and it is also referred to as positive indigenization list now. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get started. From the prelims perspective, it is data and factual things regarding it are important, but from the mains perspective, indigenization in general, government initiative and its successes and its challenges could be important. Okay. So from the prelims perspective, you have to know the basics regarding positive indigenization limit. So it was introduced by the Ministry of Defense in August 2020 as a negative imports list. Primarily, these are list of items that can now only be purchased from indigenous sources. So it is aimed primarily at encouraging indigenous defense production. With the new addition of 108 items, the new list takes the total number on the list to 209. From the main perspective, you have to know why indigenization is important in India. That is primarily because of the huge fiscal deficit that we have due to defense imports. According to a CIPRI report, India was the second largest defense importer in the last decade. So, reducing import dependence is one of the primary reasons why indigenization is important. Then it is also aimed to give domestic industry an opportunities to increase R&D into technology and manufacturing capability by giving certainty in policy, giving them a clear guidance regarding defense indigenization policy and giving them policy certainty to confidently go ahead and invest in research and development in the sector. This is also important from the strategic perspective, strategic self-reliance and employment generation in the country. Now, government has taken various measures towards this. One of these is DPP 2016, Defense Procurement Policy 2016, whereby Dhirendra Singh Committee suggested that highest preference be given to category of defense procurement from Buy Indian IDDM category, which is nothing but indigenously designed, developed, and manufactured category. So, Defense Procurement Policy of 2016 has actually included this IDDM as the highest preference category for any defense procurement. Then the FDI policy has been relaxed to invest maximum technological collaboration and have foreign collaborators, foreign uh, defense industries working in tandem with Indian industries. And defense ministry has also encouraged industries to invest in the north and south defense industrial corridors. Then you have ADB, ATB, and TDF, Army Design Bureau, which facilitates R&D in Make in India from the perspective of Indian Army. Then you have ATB, which is Army Technology Board, which again focuses on enabling R&D uh, in accordance with the needs of Indian Army. Then you have Technology Development Fund, which gives impetus, financial impetus to uh, R&D projects in defense sector. If you look at the successes, you can divide it into Indian Army, Indian Navy, and Indian Air Force and look into each from the perspective of defense indigenization product. From the perspective of Indian Army, you can say India's Arjun tank. Then you can say one of the huge successes in the indigenous production has been integrated guided missile program, under which we have Prithvi, Agni, Dhanush, etc. Indian Navy is of the three. Indian Navy is one arm of armed forces which has made sure that highest indigenization has materialized on ground. It includes uh, Project 75, including INS Kalvari Khanderi, which are submarines. In Again, you can quote INS Arihant, which is a nuclear submarine. You can quote indigenously with corvettes and offshore patrol vehicles. From IAF perspective, you can quote Tejas. You can also quote advanced light helicopter built by Hall. So these are the important things that you have to remember in this whole context. Moving on, sedition law has been in news because Supreme Court said that it is time to define limits of sedition. This was in the context of Andhra Pradesh government charging two Telugu channels with sedition. Okay, so we'll be looking at it primarily from prelims and mains perspective. So from the prelims perspective, you have to know the IPC section. You have to know what it means. What it means to be charged by sedition. So sedition basically means a person using a person committing any offense by words, either spoken or written, or by signs, or by visible representation, or otherwise, whereby he attempts to excite any kind of disaffection towards the government. And the history, understanding the brief history of this act is this section in IPC is very important because this was initiated by the British Parliament of the 17th century to curb criticism of the government during that era. And it is important to note that it is this very section which was used against Tilak and Gandhi during freedom fight and which are popular as sedition trials. Now, what are the arguments for retaining IPC 124A? The arguments in favor primarily circle around national security and public order and countering insurgency and terrorism. But arguments against are like more numerous and more solid. You can primarily cite how it is very broadly defined, how it infringes upon Article 19 and freedom towards right to free speech and expression, which includes right to criticize government and right to dissent. And you can also cite how there are various other sections in IPC and various other acts such as UAPA, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 2019, which concern sedition or similar provision, which have similar provisions for charging person. Another important reason why this needs to be repealed is International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, of which India is a member, which has highest standards of civil and political rights, actually talks about having highest uh, standards for freedom of speech and expression. The need for repealing it is also evident from the frequent misuse against journalists, political rivals, and activists. And this can also be seen in India's very low rank in press freedom rank. The report also cited frequent use of sedition against journalists in India. And one of the primary argument you can raise against IPC 124 is the very fact that it does not exist in Britain, from where we have borrowed it. Okay, so those are the important points we have to know in the context of sedition. Moving on, fiscal deficit. It was in news because fiscal deficit, as per CGA data, is lower than the estimate of 9.5. So we'll look into what is fiscal deficit and what are important factors that you have to know regarding this. Fiscal deficit basically means spending over and above the income. Basically, it's a situation where your expenditure is above your income. As per the news, fiscal deficit of India is about 9.2% of GDP in 2021. And this data is released by the Office of CJ, which is the Controller General of Accounts, which functions under Department of Expenditure and Ministry of Finance. And in the context of fiscal deficit, we have a very important act, FRBM Act 2003. We have a very important committee which has suggested changes in this context, which is encasing committee. And then you have, I mean, like, then you should know CGA, which publishes primarily the data regarding FD in the country. Okay. FRBM Act suggests that government should limit its fiscal deficit up to 3%. And it also gives a timeline. It says that government should bring fiscal deficit to up to 3% by 31 March 2021, which has clearly not happened. When we come to encasing committee, it was primarily for recommending changes into FRBM Act, for making it more relevant to the times and for making it uh, flexible. So encasing committee also came up with a timeline of 2.5% fiscal deficit by 2023. However, it gave certain flexibilities in the form of escape clause. It also suggested the creation of an autonomous fiscal council which would take decisions regarding escape councils and deviation from fiscal deficit targets. The escape clause is nothing but a clause that allows deviation from fiscal deficit target in cases of exigencies such as war or financial emergencies. You should know in detail about encasing committee. Then going into CGA, which is Controller General of Accounts, you should know that it is a principal accounting advisor of Government of India and is responsible for maintaining a technically sound management accounting system. It prepares monthly and annual analysis of expenditure, revenues, borrowings, and various fiscal indicators for the Union government. Uh, we have to know that fiscal deficit is a very important attribute and has been asked by UPSC in various forms in the last few years. So you have to know about FRBM Act in detail. You have to know about encasing committee recommendations in detail, and all other data regarding fiscal deficit, which can be asked from the prelims point of view, also from the mains point of view. Okay, that's all from today's news. With more news and articles, we'll join you tomorrow. Thank you.